The word decent doesn't apply to me.
Radio signal from another world. Sir?
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal.
Oh no, I seem to have gotten caught in the pattern buffer. Hello, sirs and madams. It's me, your buddy Admiral Teag. It's good to see everybody out there. And wow, what a wild night last night. I want to thank everyone who came through. We didn't have time to answer like all the questions. We were deluged. I think that was like the second most questions we ever got in the show, or at least the second most chats we ever got in the show. Hello, Snorty. Hello, John. Hello, everyone else out there. Hello, everyone who's going to come through. Do me a favor, hit those like and follow buttons, turn on the notifications if you haven't. And if you're coming through like later, like next hour, next week, or next year, hit the like button anyway, especially, you know, if you want to give an independent media voice a little more of a signal. It's good to see Gavin. Hello. People are starting to pile in now. Anyone who has access to the XS wants to X out that the show's live. I would appreciate that. It's a little bit of traffic, and the share sort of wakes up YouTube's algorithm. Last night's opportunity board, I don't know what else to call this, the backdrop for last night's show. I think that we had this one right on the money. I had their badges right. It took a couple of tries to get the comic styling right, but you know what? I found that with my years and years of training, I can do this if I concentrate hard enough, if I use my left foot. I only draw with my left foot. Hello to Lemon Pie. It's good to see everyone coming through. As you can see, we went for like a sort of TWD. Gavin showing his national pride. We're speaking American, but English is also spoken sometimes on this program. It's good to see everyone out there. Last night, we talked about Star Trek's second 2 episodes of that Starfleet Academy show. It's Kurtzman Trek. It's not true Star Trek, but I mean, it does bear the name, and we have some accountability and responsibility to report on it. And I got to tell you, it is not the easiest thing in the world to remain high energy during a show as bad as Strange New Worlds or as bad as Starfleet Academy. I have never personally seen anything quite so bad as the last few things from Kurtzman Trek. They are just becoming really doing nothing to dispel my belief. And I can't prove it, but you know, none of that. That's the fun thing about what we do in the speculation world, right? We all speculate and people decide whether or not they're going to believe it. I am pondering what the Tachyon Pulse said a few hours ago. Tachyon, who I first called out as possibly fake and wondered if he was for real, Tachyon seems to be for real. He goes on and he gets about 100 concurrents. It's Deej Odyssey, ladies and gentlemen. Deej, it's good to see you. What have you been thinking about this so-called Star Trek, huh? Woo. So I saw Tachyon Pulse live, and I was watching him, and he was like, I'm afraid that most of the bad bits of this show are all bad bits, and that it's mostly bad bits, and there aren't too many good bits. And I'm like, what? What did he even think was good? I didn't listen to the whole thing, but he seemed to be saying that it was obvious to him that it was a bad show, and that it was also that there was a meeting yesterday at Paramount where no major principal people went there. Like Kurtzman wasn't at the meeting, but his people were, and they were shown different parts of the show that had drawn bad reactions. That's what Tachyon Pulse is saying. This to me sounds like a prelude to a firing. And again, indulge me if you would. I don't know. I don't know that Kurtzman's going to get fired. All I know is that we're entering into the outer umbra now of the Goldilocks zone that Jerm and I predicted in September of 24, saying that right about now his fate should become clear. Now he is managed with the extension and the way they canceled him to spread his bad but now completed Star Trek shows across the year. All of 2026 is going to have these drops of Kurtzman Trek. We got another season of this Star Trek Academy that might or might not come out. We've got another season of Strange New Worlds that might or might not come out. And it would seem to me that my original theory, which was based on what I got from Tom Connors and Andre, who basically they had been saying for years, there are two equally loud but absolutely mutually exclusive sources of information. Hey, Miskatonic, it's good to see you here. I was told by Tom and Andre they had two different distinct sources within Paramount. And from the way things have worked out since then, what it sounds like is both there, and they couldn't tell who was telling the truth. My feeling is both were telling the truth. Their sources, in my opinion, one was probably Paramount, like old Paramount corporate. And the other one, I'm guessing, was within Secret Hideout, which is why sometimes it lined up and sometimes they confirmed each other. It was like, there's going to be a press conference and they're going to announce new shows, right? And then both groups of people could say something like that because it's foreseeable. But then something like, there's going to be, 8 episodes, 7 episodes, what have you, of Starfleet Academy. Some of these things a little more random and he hasn't been as on the money with some things as others. It seems like Stargate is what he's doing really great at. I think this is my personal feeling. I think the Star Trek information comes from people who are in the cast. I believe that people like Rebecca Romaine and Anson Mount and even people like Tilly, probably especially people like Tilly, have things like Patreons. Hello, Read by Nature. It's good to see you, sir. Snorty's been here since the beginning. It's good to see Snorty. You know what? I think Tachyon Pulse might be gathering. His sources might be simply this. He has top tier like fan club access to people who maybe are writers to this. He has top tier fan club access to some of the cast. And he spends his money, as we found out, on things like he goes to San Diego Comic-Con from England, wherever he is in England. He goes to San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, I'm an American. Maybe it's because I'm an American that I know not to go to California, but he did go to San Diego Comic-Con and things like that. And, he said, oh, when I spoke to this or that individual. And so he says that, what would happen to him, and this tracks, is that people like Anson Mount and others met Tachyon Pulse and he got friendly with them and he joined their Patreon. He's like, oh, remember when I met you here? Here's that picture of us together, etc. Mountain knows where his bread is buttered, and he's been a lot nicer to fans and the other people associated with the new Star Trek. He hasn't, for instance, called people out or been like a wild man as much. Like politically, he's still a wild card, and I don't think anybody knows what he'll say next. Star Trek, he'll defend that writing, but he will not clap back against the criticism on it. It seems to me like he might be obligated to defend it, but he doesn't mind having people sort of trash that Star Trek a little bit because it's just bad. Like he will say, great time working with my coworkers on Strange New Worlds, but when you see the episode, it's bad, and like people will comment like, I didn't think this scene worked, and like I appreciated your performance, but I didn't like the monster, or the story was dumb. he won't push back on that. But if you're like, oh man, your performance sucked, or Mary Wise is really ugly, like that he'll come back at you. Mostly by blocking. So I think that Tachyon Pulse's stuff. Hey, David Jones, aka Kimberly. Hello. It's good to see you. And everybody, there's some memberships out there in the ether. Try to pick some of those up if you can. I don't know if they're going out or not. I need to look at the YouTube part of the feed. It's good to see people watching, especially an unannounced Friday stream. I don't know about getting 30, but as many likes as possible really helps. 30 would still be great, believe me. Guys, this is the time to hit me up with any questions you might have about Star Trek and about my theories on New Trek and the stuff that hey, look who it is. I've got faith of the heart. Nothing's gonna bend or break me. I can reach any star. I got faith. I got faith. Faith of the heart. How's that? Is that good, RRTNZ? Thank you so much. You are a major participant and a permanent member of the Q Continuum on this channel. We're thinking Sunday night instead of Yellowstone. We can have the channel member meeting. This way, maybe people will be able to get there. We have a lot more members than usual this month, and it is absolutely a thrill to have you guys here. Welcome aboard. Check out the older videos for the members. Now we've started doing meetups a little more often. Technical sabotage and issues, not as much of a problem as they were over the summer. And let's face it, from 2022 to the middle of 2025. We're enjoying, the freedom now to bring you a little more information. And we've developed a lot of methods in the time we've been at this. One has been to sort of call out people like the Tachyon Pulse and be like, where are you getting this from? And thank you. I did my best. I love that song. I've come to love the song. Guys, they say you never forget your first command. The NX-01 was an overworked, underpowered bucket of bolts, always in danger of flying apart at the seams. I feel like because we're the first channel to ever start with Enterprise, at least that I know of, in an endeavor to cover the entire real Final Frontier. And by the way, I would point out we are covering the fake Final Frontier as well. We have covered every new Trek movie. We have now covered all new Trek shows except the animated. We haven't stepped into the animated, although after the reaction from last night and last week, maybe the animated stuff, if they make any more, we would do it. But I think the Kurtzman, it seems to be now that we've moved into the window of, January 26th, about 15 months after we said it would become clear in 15 months that the clarity is starting to show up. And it's like, do you know the way to make Kurtzman go away? Oh. It's like they got to keep showing his stupid shows, and they've got to throw a few ducats at him to keep him from going insane. But I think that we can see, yes, USA. I think we can see from what's going on with Kurtzman, there's no bringing him back. There's no bringing this back. No one wants another piece of this Star Trek, and no one is particularly thrilled with what they've seen so far. There's no bringing this back, and I don't think there's any fixing it. They said they wanted their show to end with Captain Kirk's day one on the bridge. I don't know, man. I guess they'll get whatever they want. There's no one out there who can really stop Kurtzman if he's able to raise the money. You hear about that? No, you need to set that to the way to Amarillo. How about down in the South Texas town of El Paso, I turned off a new Trek show. I don't know. It's some of the worst stuff I ever heard. To me, it's like it reminds me of that song by the Stray Cats, broken man with a pistol in his hand. It's just like they are so broken, they're so empty. All they know is the ways of violence to make their stories go. And we never we were so tangential and angry last night, but it was a funny show. I re-listened to some of it. I'm gonna finish some of our points. Kurtzman, one of the things he does that really upsets everyone is that after you're about 40, you've at least seen friends go through this. invoking the death of a parent to stop people from thinking about your story and just, try to make this stupid story keep going. That's a low blow to people who've lived a real life. When you get to that point where you've lost a parent, you don't want to see it treated in an irreverential or unimportant way. And you certainly don't want to see two parents wiped out in the space of like 17, 18 minutes, like in Trek 09. And like I said, Winona still doesn't look as old and as beat up as she did in JJ Trek. They had to nerf her. She was just too pretty for us. Like, we weren't allowed to look at a girl that pretty. Nuhura, that's the only one you're allowed. You're only allowed to like Nuhura. It was really just something else with those Kelvin movies. It was the one thing I have always said, and I stand by, is JJ's casting people were really good. These people weren't right for the roles, but they were likable. Some of them were. Zachary Quinto, I just think, is right for any role. We've seen Zachary Quinto show up on what is it? American Horror Story, season after season, sometimes playing different characters, variations of the same character. Quite adept at playing the role, looking good, looking competent. Now he's showing up on this doctor show where this guy's emotional. He's not a Spock type. He's nailing that. Zachary Quinto seems to be a superior actor. Chris Pine looks like he wants to find his destiny on the other side of the camera. Looks like he wants to write and direct. He was fine. Like, people liked him too. Like Carl Urban. We could write a missive on how much people like Carl Urban. Wow, we have got some serious national pride going here. Like, the Brits are on fire. I see all these British flags. It's like a duel. Our flag versus your flag. I want a guard posted on this cemetery around the clock. Our graves aren't going to disappear. I love Patton. I was so broken yesterday after watching 2 episodes of New Trek that I had to go watch Patton. I had to go watch Patton again. I needed the Patton movie just to. Isn't this weird? It's like, look at this. It's like, I get that. I only know 2 things. I only know 2 things, kid. I only know 2 things, kid. Yeah, I mean, I am so sure she only knows 2 things. That was some of the worst dialogue we've ever seen, and like, this is going to sound like really like kind of meanish, and I guess it is. Like, there's no sugarcoating this one. I feel a little bit bad for Tig Notaro, and I do congratulate her on her recovery from cancer. But 3 years into throwing you onto all this Star Trek stuff because I guess Kurtzman's wife thinks she's funny. I guess. I mean, that's what we're gonna do with this. Is like, okay, Kurtzman's wife thinks this woman's funny, so we're gonna make her into a serious actress on a Star Trek show that is so hung up in this Whedon-esque writing. So hung up in this Whedon-esque writing that they cannot get through anything without snark. In the Whedon writing of old, when we had a real Whedon, there would be clear stakes, and every once in a while, people would get a bit snarky. But in the Whedon-esque writing, we don't know anything about stakes. We want to snark. We want snarky characters. We need main character to be an asshole all the time. Ilea being an asshole all the time. In our little hypothetical there that we had, it's like, Teag unit, I am not an asshole. It's like, with this show, I don't know to blame the actors. Let's face it. Is it really the fault of Nicotino here that she takes a paycheck to play a physical fitness instructor? Obviously, I've exaggerated how she looks. Like Keith Richards her up. She doesn't look that bad, but I mean, she could care less about the male gaze or the male straights. Like when we found out these two were in a relationship, it like took me right out of all the other stupid questions about how dumb this scene was. Like, how come they have whistles when we saw that the bosun's whistle had been replaced by an electronic device hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years earlier? And why, on top of that, are these like the cheapest, shittiest whistles you can get rather than like the standardized whistles that we have in today's athletics? They've got 19th century whistles in this show. Let's see. Just a thought. AI really is the future. Today I saw an AI fan-made Star Wars clip that was better than anything since the 2005. And there's a URL there. Go ahead and check it out after the show. Put that one on deck to play later. Admiral needs your help now and your attention. Admiral Rubio, right? Rubio the Mad. This was the meme of last week. Let's see that a new week is coming. We'll have new memes. There will be a new avatar coming shortly, I'm sure. But I mean, Tig Notaro to be sent out there as a gym teacher, a physical fitness instructor, as is this they, them, Hadar. Neither of them look up to the job. Neither of them look particularly healthy. Neither of them look like they're able to do any of this stuff. And, then we've got this, handy capable Starfleet Academy where everybody's like, so we have people who with disabilities here, which, I don't know, in the futuristic setting of this show, do we really need people with disabilities in the sense of, like, not that they serve no purpose, but I mean, in this society, do people need to stay disabled? I mean, that would be if we said, like, in our society, it's like, you know what? We're very sorry about the fact that this accident has cost you your ability to walk, but we unfortunately, the next best thing is a wheelchair. And be like, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna no wheelchair for me. I'm gonna just drag myself along the ground. Right? Because, like, why wouldn't you go at the next step in technology, especially if it was normalized? Like, we now have, like, exoskeletons you can put on that can help certain people with conditions walk. That won't advance in 10, let alone 700 years, 800 years, whatever this is. How did Tig Notaro get back from the Discovery timeline to their timeline? I don't understand how that happened. It's not explained on screen. They just say, I left a starship on the edge of creation to come to this. Why? Why? To be with the they, them, Hadar, who has, like, an anger issue over, like, I don't know, going out for Klingon Japanese fusion? Was that what they said? Or Klingon Cajun fusion? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. This isn't any kind of Star Trek myself or William Shatner would recognize. William Shatner wouldn't bother to be seen eating a bowl of Wheaties at a stoplight for this show. And I thought he trolled them brilliantly. Shatner doesn't give many fucks. Birthday coming down the pike real soon. I think he's gonna have a few things to say to these people before he celebrates his birthday. She also reminds me of a comedian that was famous in the UK a couple of decades back called Gina G, though her accent wasn't as harsh. Are you talking about Read by Nature? Are you talking about Gina Yoshida on the left? Or are you talking about Nicotino there on the right? Our Keith Richards lady. I don't know which one is which. I don't know either of these characters' names. Although, if you want to say that Nicotino is the one who reminds you of a comedian, I can see why, because she was. But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? So Nicotino, who's, like, out there doing her thing. I don't know what it is that draws her into Star Trek, except that Alex Kurtzman's wife finds her comedy to be interesting. I mean, when you're writing lines for characters to accommodate non-acting, non-trained actors, it's good to you. It's good to see you too, Jason Love. It's great to see everybody. You know what? When we see these shows, it's like I'm wondering, like, what the hell is going on? And
But it's a mystery, and I don't like mysteries. Give me a bellyache, and I got a beauty right now.
I don't like mysteries anymore. I mean, when Star Trek occasionally had an episodic mystery where it was like, what did the Borgia plant really kill the guy from the landing party, or was it the salt vampire? Remember when Star Trek meant something and the episodes were good and we had, like, appropriate good music, like, remember stuff? And now when we get music, it's like this weird club music. It's really terrible. I had been criticizing them for having absolutely no music in their Star Trek shows. And I was surprised that they did throw music into this. But then, like, they very quickly made it a case of, oh, Admiral Teague, oh, Admiral Sir, Admiral Sir, you had the temerity to wish for music in your Star Trek. Well, we'll tell you what Star Trek music is. So now we have this weird, crunchy, leftover techno. Everything here is stained with the very early 90s. I want to make something clear. The 90s don't start happening until Kurt Cobain has got some hits or even dead. 1990, 91, 92, 93, they were reruns. Maybe 93 had its own identity starting to emerge, but 1991, 19 was a lot like 1988. There's no real difference. Whereas 1992 and 1993 are completely different. In 1992 and 1994, it's like two different worlds. Although that starts an era where you can't buy a pair of jeans that fit for like 15 goddamn years. I was fucking forever before you could find jeans that were tailored to fit human beings again. But the identity of the 80s just it stays around. No decade really gets its identity till its middle. The 60s, like if you like listen to those Beach Boys songs, you're like, wow, those great songs of the 50s, those songs are like pretty middle 60s. They were competing with the Beatles, which is why they hate them. Bunch of people just stumbled in. Let's see, is there any names out there? I don't know. Say hello. Trek Reviewer is here. Hi, Trek Reviewer. Jason Love, I said hello to you. Jason Love, I'm sorry if I'm making fun of the Beach Boys and you might like your names, semi-namesake. If Mike Love of the Beach Boys is somehow related to you, I apologize, but Mike Love of the Beach Boys, he's kind of like proof of the intellectual property thing that was talked about. And I thank just the Phobos for coming by. Two very opinionated people. We needed Germ just to demonstrate what a quiet, well-behaved person acts like, and like sort of help us remember the decorum. I really appreciated this, the Phobos point of view on Landman. I can't be the only one getting points out on this one. And I love that the panel had their points too, but it was great to get the info from Mr. Phobos. And it was amazing to see how much information we got from Germ with the few interjections where he's like, I don't know that guy would be out there in that pickup truck, like feeling bad over Ainsley. And Germ was just like, if you look at the truck, it had the same stuff on it his did. It was also the same color. And that window was obscured. And that's where he bought Ainsley swimming. And I'm like, click, click, click. It's like, why didn't you tell me this first? But he was right about all of it. Germ holding it past tonight's show. One of a couple of people holding it past tonight's show. We'll see if anyone comes through or not. There was like extensive broadcasting on the British side of the aisle. And we saw a lot of people out there saying hi. Admiral Teague reminds me of the Does LSD Affect the Mind? Then showed them the Beatles 1964 to 1969. Yeah, I agree. I've never heard of her outside of her replacing someone on Snyder's Vegas zombie nonsense. Was that a movie or was that something like where he actually did a Vegas residency with some kind of show? Was that, or did Zack Snyder do like Zombieland, which was not a little bit nonsensical, but like would be redemptive if it was a Zack Snyder project? I don't think that's him, right? I don't know. I don't know what honestly, we saw a lot of stuff that told us a lot in the when we saw the press conference for New Trek. You don't get information like you get. I mean, as Yogi Berra said, you could learn a lot just by watching. I couldn't believe how much different that interview was when I went through it with you guys with no sound, just explaining it from what I remembered. I listened to it, right? So it hits the ear different when you listen to it than when you watch it, right? So when you're watching it, you're getting this visual input that may or may not distract you from what's going on. And for a moment there, I was, in fact, just caught up in listening to it. And it seemed like an organic enough conversation for a start and stop conversation. It did. Sorry, guys. This is, I had needed a quick pause there for the difficulties of city living. The temperature in my apartment spiked like 8 degrees since the show started. It's not my device. It's the fact that like when you live in New York City, a few floors up, like your neighbor's heat, like you get that too. There's not much you could do. Your only option is to inject ice cold air from outside to try to counter it. So I'm going to throw on a pair of shorts as I continue to broadcast with you. Yeah, I don't know why this. And I, by the way, I would tell you that's one thing that every YouTuber, if you want to ask them a question that'll make them laugh and relate to, ask them either what drinks they keep next to them while they stream. For me, it's usually water and Gatorade, sometimes some Coca-Cola when my voice is feeling sore. And there's a Coca-Cola run in a moment where I'm going to go grab a Coca-Cola because I am a little parched and I'm having a little, difficulty. I don't want to start getting tongue-tied. Tachyon Pulse says that the people from Paramount have been having talks to Kurtzman people about the low quality of the show. Not only am I unsurprised, I'm shocked that the Tachyon Pulse was saying that there were some things that he thought were funny. Like he thought one of the EMH's jokes were funny. Fair enough. I mean, sorry guys, as I fix my microphone stand and other interesting things. Welcome to Admiral Teague's Fix It on the Fly YouTube show. You know what? I'll just deal with that cascade failure later. He thought a couple of the jokes from some of the cast members were all right. He thought the jokes about the worms in the intestine were okay. I thought that the delivery was terrible on that. They shenana once, they'll shenana again. That's mom jokes. It's not befitting of TV. It's like if a clever member of your family just dropped that one situationally, yeah, but like set up and seeing it coming, it doesn't work. You're ordered to report to Chet Reno's class on how to use one's tongue and phalanges to please your partner. Well, I know how to do that. But I wouldn't be drinking Coca-Cola first. I'd be drinking a lot of alcohol and becoming extremely uninhibited. It is hard to believe that the last time we had good Trek was before the Yankees won the last World Series. On a steady basis, yes, but I would say that 8 minutes of unification was so good that we sort of could count that as new Star Trek. That is decent. I need one quick moment to go get a little bit of Coca-Cola. Here's a 40-second encapsulation of Han Solo's whole life. Don't look away or you'll miss it.
One question. You want to live, Spark?
Yeah, but this time I've got the money. You tell Jabba.
I know that laugh. Yes, anything.
Does it hurt? I mean, my God. I won't pretend that really did save you a lot of money because obviously, like the movies are much better than what we the just nonsense nightmare that we just all were exposed to. I don't know that Disney can pull off anything without a full decanonization of Disney Star Wars. They might need to go with pocket dimension. Pocket Dementia would explain what we would get from it better, but pocket like dimension, pocket universe, some kind of place outside of time and space where they can somehow like try to explain some of this stuff to us. Like I feel like John Gill. As of now, our ships are heading towards the planet Zayon. We will go forward in victory. Replace Crystalea in Army of the Dead. Oh, okay. He got canceled for something never thought either were funny. Okay, so she replaced a male comedian because like Chris is like a unisex name. I don't want to make any assumptions in these days. Snyder did Army of the Dead based in Vegas. Nataro was in it. I can believe that. Tell me a little more about Crystalea. What a hint of their thing. We keep track of so many moving parts and so many different things that are weird that I may just have plain old lost track of what they did that was weird. And like, I just, with the name Chris, I just don't know. Right. Yeah, I don't. I would like to know what he got canceled for without getting too specific. The safe version of the story. Uh, you know what? Okay, we could get that for a moment. You know what? We should. Did I delete? We will win. Oh no.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest.
When half your country's political system is in disarray, it's disarray, led by a guy that dumb. When I met Chuck Schumer on the streets of New York, that's how you do politics in America now. It's like in the summer when there's various festivals, like you don't tell anyone you're going there, and like you just show up and you shake hands. So I'm walking down the street, and this has happened with AOC a couple of times over in other parts of Queens, and this has happened in different people, and this is how you end up running into celebrities, because New York's a low profile town, and people don't even really give a fuck about the politicians. But I walked by, and standing there was Charles Schumer. He goes about 5'9.5", 5'10". He was about the same height as me. He had great hair for a guy his age, and I looked at him, and I tried to be deferential, and I was like, I said the right things, like, "Oh, Senator Schumer, this is an honor. I have a couple of questions for you." And he goes, "I'm fighting the fight. I'm fighting the fight. I'm fighting the fight." And I was like, I just about this, and he's like, the next person's like, "I'm fighting the fight. I'm fighting the fight." So it's just like he used the fact that people kept coming up to get around giving any substantive answer, and I was like, "All right, I got my selfie with the guy." So, well, whatever. And what I did was, he's a dude. Okay. Is he a little mean? All right. Okay. What, Schumer? Yeah, I think he's kind of more dumb than mean, but like the results of his dumbness have had bad effects on a lot of people. I apologize to the people of America for New York's poor leadership on the left. We shouldn't have to be ashamed of either political party in this country, but unfortunately, one of them's track record for the last few years has just been, they did a good job of selling a lot of people on the idea that they were the ones who were honest dealers. And then what happened with Biden happens, and it's like right out of a Philip K. Dick book. It's like, we literally saw a replicant president glitch out and melt down on the air. And that was the most important thing in the last cycle of political things to happen. And by the way, I have been staying away from monetizing the streams just because we've had the ability now to just sort of go with any topic we want. And that's been pretty cool. So once a week, what we do is we throw the Mars stream out there at you. I did it earlier this week, and I will probably be doing that one Tuesdays. I think will be Mars. Just remember, people who know the stream come to the landscape stream. Likes on the landscape stream, very important. I unlist the Mars stream. I get rid of it after the show. It doesn't help me out. It's not the greatest thing ever for me. Getting all sorts of posts from all different people about all the people are so annoyed about Star Trek's this is so, I'll show you a picture here. Let me share a screen with you here. This was something that was going around. We saw this, of course, in in Starfleet Academy. What the hell was with this? What the hell was with this? This is the captain. Does she, someone was saying, does she have polio? Someone else does she have scoliosis? It was a really terrible look. This is not a military way to act. I don't care if she's 422 years old. And what happened? Did some form of dementia set in at 80, and just 360 years later, it's just not a big deal. They're not going to address it. I find the show to be absolutely horrible. I don't know about the rest of you, but you know what? I do not understand why you are doing these things where you're constantly giving in a very slow show. You're not doing careful work. Let's talk about the image in front of us. Here are our physical fitness instructors. Now, one, God bless her, just survived cancer. Poor woman. I'm glad she's okay. The other one is, I don't know. She had either a European or Northwest African accent. She wasn't American sounding, but she was affectating the character where she was yelling a lot. And at the press interview for the premiere, and yeah, Grandma has been sipping the Irish coffee. Oh, Holly Hunter. You know what? This was never a problem before. It's not like she's been off the screen for years and years and years. It's not like we have no context on this. What happened? And sirs and madams, if you could do me a favor, if you're coming through later, even if you're here now, open up the browser tab for Admiral for like 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minute analytic here. It really is a big difference. I know that I have like the low visual show, but better low visuals than low energy, right? I mean, the worst, you know what? If Admiral Teague goes low energy, that the all Star Trek commentary will end up being low energy. Like, as Admiral Teague goes, that goes to Star Trek commentary. Although, of course, Disparu is a North London accent. That lady, all right, I can believe that Gina Yashida, as she said, had a North London accent. It's the thing is that she's shouting when she talks, so it's hard to get a read on it. Now, would a North London accent be also what we get from Mick and Keith, or is one from each? Like, I know they live pretty close to each other, but those kind of boundaries can be arbitrary. And I've never been to beautiful London. I hope to be one day. Some of my ancestors came from there. I wonder if Brent Spiner will show up in Academy. You'd have to hope not. But they are so hung up on him playing his identical and like conveniently aged characters of his family that I would have to say, yeah, like the chance of him coming through fairly high. He needs the money, he'll do it. The one thing I would say is Brent Spiner learned how not to troll his own fans in reverse the way that has been done by most of the New Trek people. I don't think that the reverse trolling of the fans is constructive. And the preventive trolling of the fans is anything but constructive. Going after your own fans before the show starts the way this one did, I don't know they had anything to lose because the show was canceled when we saw it. Why they made a season 2 of this, I don't know. I guess, so you can just pull the lever on that slot machine one more time because it's guaranteed to pay off. You're insulated from your own failure in this nonsense. But I found that Gina Yashida was really hard to take and not an interesting individual. I don't know, like with Kurtzman, he doesn't get people who have a lot of experience. She may not have known any better, and she hadn't picked up a lot of skill in her acting from being around for a while. So why this person with a bad physique, these two people who have non-athletic physiques. Sorry, I just need a little bit of the old Coca-Cola. Why these people with non-athletic physiques need to be our fitness instructors, it's just beyond me. It doesn't jibe with the idea that this is a school that you would believe in with any believability. And there are no background actors in this show. There are no background actors. We have named cast, and that's it. They have like their bare minimum of whatever the California legal union rule is for SAG, 35 people, 50 people minimum. Like that, this show has a named cast of 11 and 23 producers. Okay. It's typical Kurtzman slop. And also, we had the conveniencery and the shortcuts and the nonsense. And what we did in episode 3 was just unconscionable, where we told people to to use the environmental laws as a way to sort of hector society. Guys, hit up the comments with some emojis for me. Light it up a little bit. Let people know that the show's on, and like keep that light turned on. Keep the light on for me, because right now, uphill battle and the noise of all the track. I didn't expect that it would become quite so viral. I've been caught flat-footed twice in the last month. I'll admit that. I'm too close to the trees to see that it's actually part of a forest. I just see that the Tim Russ tree is always like got mange on it or whatever. It's just like it's the mossiest, dirtiest old tree. It's filthy. The wind could knock it over at any minute, and it's a hazard. Like a branch had come falling out of that and just kill someone. It's a hazard. Tim Russ, when he made his comment that went all viral, it was like it really didn't make a huge difference because within a couple of hours, someone else from Star Trek said something that's bad, but it caught the attention of major YouTubers. To me, it was just Tim Russ being Tim Russ. I mean, like, he says stuff like that so often. That wasn't outlier mean for him. I guess it's just outlier outrageous and outlier newsworthy. There are times in Academy I have trouble understanding both Holly Hunter and what her first officer are saying. All right, there's two reasons for that. One, the sound mixing is bad, and two, they did not give Holly Hunter or anyone else a second take. We see someone say "fuck you" to someone, and their mouth moves, but the sound doesn't come out. But they're not mouthing it because you can see they're saying it with some force. It's not. You can tell when someone's supposed to "fuck you." It looks different, back to back. So we've seen some dialogue like just gouged out. And he didn't have the money to CGI the frames or like even do an interesting editing job where the person's mouth stayed closed, or they didn't film from behind because they didn't have the resources. When they do film from behind, it's an extra looking at a screen talking about stuff that, we think applies to the show. And it happens so often that you can start to get dizzy. And like I said this last night, Disparu smooths out a lot of the problems when you rewatch his take on how bad the show is. It's a little less hard to watch because he's a better editor than they are, and he smooths out their bad highs and lows. Up JT saw the beginning of the show. I'm going to imagine that this is from him. Let's see. Let's see if I can. JT's out there somewhere watching. Here we have him. There's going to be a State of the Union in a couple of weeks. You know what? You don't need me to tell you this. It's going to be a pretty high stakes one with We Will Win versus, Make America Great Again. We Won't Quit versus America First. And, both sides kind of in a crisis. On the left, we see that the identity politics is like far closer to being processed out of what they're going to send out there on an election than it is out of the mainstream of Hollyweird and Hollywoke, which is behind, right? So politics being downstream from culture, but culture having gotten a new apartment downstream from politics, they are doing things that were political months ago, and a lot of the politicians have now pivoted, and we are seeing stuff that doesn't match up or has been changed. So the rip from the headlines opinion Star Trek not working so great. Not working so great at all, like looking pretty bad. So dated stuff that they themselves have reversed on. They can't keep their message straight. I mean, they're not being subtle. They're not introducing messages that we can enjoy. They're not doing anything enjoyable with Star Trek. And this Starfleet Academy, like people say, oh yeah, it's an idea that's been going around for a long time. The idea that they had for Starfleet Academy back in the 70s, if you want to say having young companions for every member of the crew on Star Trek the Animated Series was going to be a thing. Like Gene shot that right down. So no, there's no continuity there. If you want to say that this was a Starfleet Academy show that was talked about at the end of the 20th century, nope, sorry, there's no continuity there. And if you want to say that this is the Starfleet Academy pitch from 2018, then you would be right, and there is continuity there. But hold on a second.
Admiral Teag, please stop using copyrighted material.
Whoa.
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat.
Miskatonic Madman with a very generous $10 Greenlandian greenback super chat, super sticker. Let's see. Oh, what could that sticker be? I think I have a clue. I think I better get my singing voice ready to go. Oh yeah, he's flying through the air. He's one of us. He's one of you. You know what? We know him. Who is he? Where does he come from? Who is this? Who is this creature? Who is this individual who has come to our planet? My grandmother had trees in her backyard, and I just remember one of them was a that's really bad. Sorry guys, I'm just messing with my with my feed so you guys can see some stuff. Here it is. Let's get that up on screen. Look at that. From Miskatonic Madman. Let's see if I can do it. Look what's happening to Teag. I can't believe it myself. Suddenly I'm up on top of the world. It should have been somebody else. Believe it or not, it's a flying pair. I never thought one get sent to me. Flying away, 'cause there's wings on that pair. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just Teag. Let me see hands in the air. All right. It's the greatest American Tigro. Thank you, Miskatonic Madman. That was I was. It's always like, from my heart. Grown men come up to me. So sometimes with tears in their eyes, and they say to me, "Admiral, sir, you need to keep taking it to the new Trek people. It's only your exposure of their bad product that has gotten the word out to the 50,000 people." If 50,000 more people had reacted and that trailer got to 200,000, yeah, Drinker would have needed another couple of hours to beat it, maybe 90 minutes. But here's the point. Because we were able to sort of put them in a place where they couldn't hurt us. And I have my own theories about why I was on YouTube. I'll get into it in a minute. But because they only got 150,000, we showed 50,000 people. Now, I'm not pretending I had 100% success rate and it was on there for free. But what if 25 or what if even 10,000 people didn't watch because of me? That means that would have been like, what would that be? 1.5%, so not like huge, but a chunk. They needed 10,000. Or is it 10%? I don't even know. They needed those 10,000 people. They needed those 10,000 fucking people. If they could have started to get up around 200,000, which took them yet another day to even come close to, and it was only like 20,000 more day 3. If they could have started talking to it in chunks of 1 million, it would have sounded so much better than what they were forced to do, talking about it in the tens of thousands. So that, like, stories that uploads of the streaming uploads of Strange New Worlds were only getting 8 to 25,000 views after episode 3 seems to be true. Thank you so much, Miskatonic Madman, for the very generous $10 American Super sticker. I appreciate it. It was fun to sing for you. It was fun to sing with the camera on. You know what? Fun is a cool thing, and we should have it here. And while we got 9 concurrents, let's talk about why we don't have 15. There are 6 or 7 people who would be here, but they have not ever been good faith. You don't have to be a graduate of the School of Etiquette. You really don't to be in this chat. But if you disrespect the other chatters, if you are uncool, if you show bad faith, you know what? Admiral don't like that shit, and I'm not going to expose my friends to it. And that's why maybe we have a few less concurrents than other people. This is not a safe space. If anything, it's a free phaser zone where there's like phaser shots going off left and right. But at the same time, everybody's got it set to stun. We're keeping it above the belt. And you know what? What's the worst criticism of this show? That we have enthusiasm for Star Trek, that during the darkest moments of Star Trek, I'm supposed to feel bad. I'm supposed to fucking feel bad that during the darkest moments of Star Trek, I was willing to take the mockery and say that there will be a new day for Star Trek, and that unification shows that we could prove that we could save it, and that we could still save it, and that I was able to spark a conversation on Pop Culture Breakdown that went like 30 minutes about whether or not Doomcock's poll about dead franchises applied. Now, the poll did seem to apply, but I wish he had taken my suggestion and run the poll again during the run of that bad Star Wars show, and been like, see what it gets now, or when Doctor Who came back, like, see what happens now, because like Star Trek would have done, like, I think that anything that was out there would have done worse at that moment as far as resurrection goes. But I think that after unification, we saw that in just 8 minutes work, you can save Star Trek, for the viewer. If you were to go in to see the new Star Trek movie and it started out with something like, I don't know, unification as a free feature before the movie starts, just, you see Star Trek Unification. It's of movie cinematic quality. It's got great special effects. It affects no canon or lore. It's wordless. It doesn't have to be accepted. It's extra canonical, for lack of a better term. It's great to watch, and everyone's happy to see their greatest Star Trek hero, William Shatner's Captain Kirk, on screen doing a great job. And Spock, we see what Star Trek is all about. That's what Star Trek is. She's a beautiful lady, and we love her. And you know what? I don't think that 2026 is going to be a Star Trek movie. I think that's calling Kurtzman's bluff and putting his feet to the fire a little bit to get him to clear out of there. The most generous rumors anyone can find say that they're only allowed to film till August 21st, not even the end of summer. So August 21st, but I believe Labor Day and stuff like that just kicks in. And I don't think the industry's working in August. I think he's going to be able to take advantage of extra stages. If that was an outlier rumor, my friends, that rumor was a very big outlier. Most of the rumors that I saw said that it was January, the end of January, that he couldn't film anymore. And we're there now as I do my best imitation of Iceman with this pen, right? We're there now at the end of January. He's got like one more week to say something crazy as far as I think he's allowed for a couple of more days to announce a project. Now, Tachyon Pulse said he found some of the stuff in Lower Decks interesting, but also said that Kurtzman had been warned. Taking Tachyon Pulse at his word and just assuming his information, I take him at his word that he heard this. Assuming his information is true, I know he gave it to us in good faith, but assuming his information is true, Tachyon Pulse is saying to us that there was a meeting with the lower level Kurtzman people about here's some parts of your show that are terrible. Here's why. Here's some tweets. Here's what people said about them. Here's some metadata we have about when people tuned out. This is what's going wrong. Now, I don't think that this was done so that he could make better Star Trek next time around, because one rumor I cannot find is that there is a negotiation with him to do more Star Trek. And this meeting with his lower people, as reported by Tachyon Pulse, it sounds to me like anything but they're trying to have some kind of a situation with Kurtzman where they're going to keep him around. It sounds to me like what they're doing is they're looking to fire Kurtzman, and this is the beginning of a chain of causality. And wow, we got some people coming in. Do me a favor, if you haven't hit those like buttons, do already. It gives me a bigger signal boost on the next show, and it helps this show. I want to thank everybody who joined my community. So many joined last night. There are some memberships out there in the ether. I don't know if they've been given out. Let me take a look at my chat and see how far I can roll back in that one. And let me get it off the screen first while I take a look and see how far back I can roll this chat and see if anybody's gotten some memberships. There were like 30 memberships given out last night. And let me heart RRTNZ's chat. It was great. I don't want to hide the user. Why are you asking me this stupid fucking question? Sometimes I hate RRTNZ. Say something so I didn't accidentally hide you. And hello there, Sci-Fi Sit Down. It's great to see you. RRTNZ saying it like, let's see. Pay your panel for their copyrighted controversies.
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat. Admiral Teag, please stop using copyrighted material.
Sir, we have to send for Albert Einstein. Sir, he's very busy. Sir. Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
You know what? Like, let's face it. And thank you, Sean. And thank you, RRTNZ. Let's do that super chat some justice. Pay your panel for their copyrighted controversies. You know what? My panel, they were the biggest fans of the former Star Trek regime. And there was a good fleet led by a great and kind admiral known as Clobber in times. And he was a great YouTuber. And he primarily did comics. I touch on comics, but I primarily do Star Trek. He did Star Trek great. I'm only starting to approach the level of performance that he gave out as far as his greatness. I'll never have his greatness. I have enthusiasm for this. It is now no longer a Saturday night Star Trek experience where it is a comic book guy who is a great comic book guy and a great pop culture guy doing Star Trek. This is a Star Trek guy's main Star Trek show on Saturday night. Okay. This is my flagship. It's very important to me that you get the best Star Trek experience. We want to use those 4 bars of energy that we have, still leave with 2 bars of energy going. Always leave them wanting more. The 5-hour New Trek shows, let's face it, a lot of that, and you see the police lights on my back wall. There is just a crime spree going on in Admiral Teague's neighborhood. People who want to come here and hurt Admiral Teague, I get it, but once you see this neighborhood and you see that I'm still alive, you know what? Still alive, old friend, but like a person from the suburbs, you keep crying and wetting your pants walking down the streets of Admiral Teague's neighborhood. You would be scared shitless in my neighborhood. I'm sorry. If you're not from New York, it's going to scare you. A major city, it's going to scare you. This channel has more consistent lore than all of Kurtzman Trek, especially Sci-Fi Academy. More mechanical controversy copyrights, too. We do have channel lore. You know what?
That was so controversial. Sir.
Like, that was some shocking stuff RTN said. My God. I think that for these amazing super chats, we need to hear from another supporter of this channel. Another person who knows that we're on mission here on Saving Star Trek. Who attacked the Carthaginians, sir?
The Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords and lances. The soldiers lay naked in the sun. 2,000 years ago, I was here. Well, this match will not be postponed.
This match will not be postponed. I was there. You know what? We have had a great time with Space Patton, and it's time for Admiral to move a little bit again. Maybe move a little bit again. There we go. Sydney. Oh, boy. Oh. Fuck you. I know where her eyes are. Guys, I want to thank RRTNZ. Yeah, the channel lore is that Admiral Teague went to franchise unifier with a franchise unifying name, Admiral James Earl Teague attended Starfleet Academy with James Kirk, where I was salutatorian. You know, he was, of course, the valedictorian, which is Star Trek lore, and show lore, because they say he was the most gifted cadet at the Academy in the show and in the movies. Wow, we really have people coming in here. Outlaw Bill is here. I am hoping to do the Super Bowl with Outlaw Bill. We're negotiating now. I think he agrees with my point. He just didn't get back to me. Sir, Outlaw, that is a 6-hour broadcast. While I agree football should be at the forefront, and I would love to have the Padawan there, while football should be at the forefront, we have like a 40-minute halftime where we can analyze the game a little bit unless it's a blowout, because someone might just think up the place. We don't know. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you're right. I'm 80% of the way there, but sub to Outlaw Bill. He's the greatest, and he's a pal of mine. Who else has showed up? I see Sith Dead. I see Radioactive Actual. I see Outlaw Bill. Who else has come in while I wasn't watching? Make yourself known. Hit those like and follow buttons. Expand Admiral Teague's bandwidth, which has gone from 6 likes to timpani roll, please. How many likes does Admiral Teague have? And how come I can't get this show to load? Wow. Oh, I know why it is. Okay, we could fix that pretty easily. You know what I love about Patton is that Roger Corby is in it from Star Trek. Roger Corby from Star Trek is one of the people in the opening sequence of Patton where he's like, you don't really want us to get Patton over here, do you, sir? Do we really want to bring in Patton? And you know what? They're like, yeah, we gotta. I mean, don't we want to win? And no, okay, I don't know then. We'll talk DMs, but it's good to see you, sir. And welcome back to Channel Family. It's good to see you. And we still have the Battle of the Flags going on. You have agreed, guys. All the British people, spam your British flags. All the American people, spam your United States flag. Have some fun on YouTube. You know what? It's color war. And if the Union of South Africa, the other USA is like our 3rd most active subscribed channel. It's like USA, South Africa, Canada, then Great Britain, which includes Scotland, and then parts of Ireland. I do not see Ireland on there. Jason Love getting it started for Team USA. 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 You know what? I don't know anyone who doesn't get filled up with at least just a little bit of pride when they hear that like beautiful USA chant go up there through the audience. I think that it's kind of exciting. I know that when I hear them chanting USA, I feel a little bit renewed as an American, and I feel I feel that like the power of the chant, like it starts to move the place, you know. It's like, USA, USA, and it's just like all the Americans getting crazy. Oh, this is the worst setup for Sydney Sweeney. There we go. At least it teases most of the cleavage, and you get to see, you know, the boobins. But guys, you know what? Spam those chats. USA versus Great Britain. I got ancestors for both. I guess my ancestor from Ireland was actually kind of a ancestor from Great Britain because Belfast's still part of that country, and but he did fight for the United States part of the United States, not the CSA, against some of his other countrymen in the United States Civil War. Interesting stuff. Gettysburg guy, Army of the Potomac, you know, winners. Why do I still have CSI up? We need to get that branding fixed right now. I'm sorry, sirs and madams. Site maintenance underway. You know, maybe leave the Admiral Teag logo up there for a moment to sort of clean off the engagement. But you know what? I feel like Bob Dole with my pen here. But with our experience so far with New Trek, these are the things that have been true. Since Section 31, now maybe before, but since Section 31, a free fall has been going on. Section 31 was the worst thing that any of us had seen. Now, when they came back with Strange New Worlds, we thought that minute by minute, it was actually worse than Section 31, but it wasn't long enough to actually be worse because Section 31 was slightly less horrible. It wasn't good, but less horrible is the operative word here, minute by minute. But as far as Strange New Worlds, by the time it got to episode 3, it had actually intensified how bad it was to the point that it was so much worse minute to minute than anything we ever saw on Section 31, because Section 31 at a certain point it eventually ends, right? With Strange New Worlds, I believe they're calling it season 3. They achieved time dilation. Okay. They achieved time dilation. Okay. They were able to make that 1 hour go by like 7. And I was so pleased to hear that Az found it equally hard to go through as any of us. It was just a little bit too fucking stupid and long. It was so dumb. Like in the second episode, when they're talking about these fragile plants that will like wither and die if you're mean to them, they put them into the meanest part of their stupid academy, which I'm going to be honest with you, based on the visuals, is the academy orbiting the Earth because it's a starship? Does it land in San Francisco on and off? Has it landed for good? Is it in orbit for good? Does it only land when it needs to? I can't fucking tell. We saw it look like it was getting ready to land, leaving what I think was its star drive behind, but the show's unsure of it and unclear and inconsistent about it, so am I. I don't know what to say. There we go. I like to see that, Gavin Blackburn. Blackie's flying the Union Jack. You know what? And if you mind that nickname, let me know. But I know I can get away with it because Blackie Blackerson has been a sub of Doomcock since I have been a sub of Doomcock for these 50 months. You know what? Working out over there, I guess, pretty big time. Let's get my logo down so I don't forget about it for tomorrow's show. I am looking forward to bringing you part 2 of the Forge trilogy tomorrow. I forget the name of the actual episode. It's pretty good though. It's a good middle episode, and the Forge trilogy, it's just like you blow right through it. It's so infinitely bingeable that it's like, and it's over. Star Trek Enterprise is the most bingeable show with the most promising aspects if it becomes a streaming show. Because they were doing 3 and 4 episode arcs, there's a chance that these guys will be pretty good at delivering us worth watching Star Trek, in 3 and 4 to 5 episode bites because they were almost streaming before. Remember, that's almost streaming length, right? For like 3 episodes. All right, you're more than halfway there. It's usually grouped by 5 because you want 4 and then that other one to get them into the next month. So it's 6 or it's 8, enough to get people to watch for at least 2 months or parts of 3. And then, whatever your free trial runs out. And with any luck for the people who, sell the streaming service, you'll again be back for free when your other device dies and you get another free month of their service. And if it's Paramount Plus, it's 3 months for free because gosh knows it's like 1/3 the price of the rest. And the only one I can recommend, and that's based on cost, for $9, who cares? Sir, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And Jason Love, okay. Are we South Parking the idea that this man he tasks me. You know what? I don't think he's going to be around. Let's put the real rightful creator up there. Oh, hell, the creator. Oh, Roddenberry. Oh, great Roddenberry. Great bird of the galaxy. Help us traverse like the great mighty albatross of space you are across this void of entertainment until your great vision can be restored to something of its former luster and its former glory. We've got a chance. Do the Dungeons and Dragons guys look like the absolute bestest ever? Oh, wow. I didn't know I could do this. There's a new StreamYards feature. Now, if only I had choice between top and bottom for the branding. Who knows? Oh.
Hot milk.
That little chunk from my very first intro to my very first show. I'll keep that forever. We also had this from the first ever show.
We'll be honest with ourselves, and we'll get after it as a Navy.
The Admiral says he came to see the damage for himself, meeting with the sailors and crews who fought the fire, one that will go down in history.
We've not seen a fire of this magnitude in a Navy ship in recent memory, at least in my career.
He says the 2 biggest obstacles were the winds and the explosions.
There were times when he had to back those firefighters off the ship. At one point, the explosion was so great that it blew debris across the ship.
And now, the investigation begins.
And we need to go through this, catalog it all, and get an understanding of whether or not we had it right.
The Admiral says...
You know what? I always appreciated that because that talk about how do we get to this point? It has been so fitting to my mission for these 3 going on 4 years now of serving you guys. And I can't thank you enough. It's very special what happened the other night where we were able to take their terrible poison and make it fun. Sig Valdeson is here. Pop culture is dead, which includes Star Trek. I'm not prepared to argue that after what I've been through in the last couple of days. I will say this. This death comes in the shadow of new life. A new life that those like Gene Roddenberry saw fit to protect and nurture. And is far beyond my powers to debate his wisdom at these proceedings. Star Trek will be back. Maybe not for a long time. And maybe some of us want 5 or 6 years off before they do this. But, in the words of Luke Skywalker in another JJ tainted franchise, no one's ever really gone. The fact that they're going to keep cranking this out anyway tells me that we're and welcome, Sig. It sounds like they're really describing Star Trek Academy, Starfleet Academy. Starfleet Academy, in a word, inept, in a sentence, inept and pandering, in a short series of terms, inept, pandering, poorly constructed, poorly filmed, gonzo, bullshit filmmaking below the level of regular TV, and maybe not even, it's not fitting family viewing. I mean, the amount of conversations that this will force you to have with your kid. Like, I can't watch this even with like a 20-year-old. I don't want to have this conversation even with a fucking 20-year-old. It's not a conversation that we choose to have a lot on our show. The USS Enterprise and USS Erskine accidental fires during the Vietnam War. That was the last time they had a fire that big. By the way, Sean's father, off the Oriskany just a couple of days before that fire, ran into some of his shipmates later. From what we were told, there was more than a few ways to die before that fire, even on ship duty, very dangerous. The fumes of napalm, people falling asleep in a room filled with napalm where they had to get them out of there. And what did they do with the leaky napalm? Maybe it was just the fumes. My God. But you know what? That guy never forgot that debt of gratitude. Just as we should not really forget that this time when we celebrate Saturday's Star Trek show, we will be in the footprint of the Tet Offensive, and perhaps we'll spend a moment remembering those who fought for our nation in that conflict. My father included. Not my dad, but my father. I got two dads the old-fashioned way. I was fucking adopted like a normal, well, only slightly less than normal human being. It's a mundane way to have two fathers. Let's put it to you that way. It was was it ever horrific? Watch our review of that. Hey, it's Sean Carter. We were just telling the Oriskany story. It came up a couple of comments back from Sig Valdeson. Where was the comment? We've got color wars going on. We've got people flashing their USA and USA colors and their Great Britain colors, but we were talking about the sound that we played before my first show about the Inspector General of the Navy going to figure out why the USS Bonhomme Richard had an explosion at dock while being serviced and slightly refitted. It preceded the first ever saving Star Trek. And Sean Carter is in the house. You know what? We got to get a little bit of video for Sean Carter. What do we have here?
Doesn't anyone see that this is wrong?
No, that doesn't work for Sean. Let's do. I'm not going to monetize this show anyway. Let's have some fun.
Incoming transmission.
Paramount, restore William Shatner's original brilliant narration to the opening of Star Trek. It's garbled. You're embarrassed of it because the old regime was a bunch of idiots. I appeal to you. You fucked up the Taylor Sheridan thing. Give us back the original narration from our original hero. If I can restore it, so can you. If I can do it, so can you. And you know what? Hats off and compliments to the over 30 channels that have played that. I will not take any action against you if you want to do that to show your Star Trek. Go ahead. Use the Admiral Teague version, but credit me. That's all I ask. Now, if someone was to use that in a bad faith way, I would feel differently. But right now, if you want to use that at the beginning of your Star Trek show, if you're doing TOS, be my guest. Just give me credit. Know where you heard it first. Admiral Teague is proud to provide the restored audio. William Shatner's voice should be heard. When you watch it on Paramount Plus, they have gone after his vocal track and his narration so bad. It sounds like shit. Everything else has been improved. They have nerfed that, and Shatner himself has said they're embarrassed of it because I say we're no man. So they changed it. You know what? Shatner correctly points out modernism and incorrectly eats while driving. It's not a good idea at 20, let alone 90. Though I guess he just had another suit in the back seat. What does he care? He's 90 and he's really wealthy. But there you go. Sean, to welcome you to the chat, we played the original Star Trek theme. And like I said, it's great that so many channels of you. Yes, Gavin, it's the historical documents. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, we are the final federation. Okay, we are the final federation. I'd like to invite JDA Talks on the show. John Delaraz, if we can talk to him. I probably will be sending him a DM. There's a couple of conditions. I need to be the craziest person on the show, or I'll be a little bit angry with the people. I'm the fucking idiot around here, all right? The other day, a couple of people were saying things were dumb, and I just had I stepped it up and outdumbed them. I'm gonna be the dumbest person wherever I go. Stay out of my lane. That's the first one. But aside from that, I'm gonna DM him. He was on with Tachyon Pulse. Tachyon Pulse, a man on fire since on this show, doing live streams left and right. I'm glad you liked it, Sig. It was for people like you that I did it. Honestly, to borrow the term from Elton John, it's people like you that keeps it turned on. They have destroyed and undercut the original opening. Watch it on Paramount Plus. Watch it on YouTube. They have messed with the vocal. Listen to how clearly it comes through in my beginning. And when I see people who are running Star Trek channels in Pakistan using that opening, you know what? I also think I did a fairly good job of putting together. It was a more enterprise-like beginning, but all fair use, YouTube legal. It's no wonder people like using it. Admiral Teague's contribution to the greater Star Trek conversation. It's nice to hear the original opening to TOS. It really is. It's something I always enjoy. And let's face it, I've said this enough times about Voyager. It first happened with this show. When I was a kid with Star Trek, the original series, the song is so great that when the song ends, it can get you through a rough opening. There are really no rough openings in TOS, but maybe early TNG, if you'd had a stronger theme song, because that one, they never have a song of their own until First Contact, in my opinion. Voyager was such a great theme song. Deep Space Nine, such a great theme song. You're ready for a space adventure, and if the opening segment isn't that great, you don't have to worry. Like, you're kind of psyched up and there's goodwill from the song. That doesn't happen with Enterprise because people don't like that opening song. I think that we have a shot of getting Sussman on here because we need to keep the buzz going for United. I have been the loudest, most consistent voice of Star Trek United, and we've kept the channel's X feed pretty clean of controversy and problems. All right. We stayed out of trouble. I mean, can we find people lobbing in coming at us? Surprisingly few compared to what it was just 6 months ago. But yeah, it's still incoming, but surprisingly few. I want to thank a lot of people for tacking towards a little more reason. I disagree. Admiral Teague, the nuns at St. Mary's, where I went to grammar school, told me over and over that I was the dumbest person on the face of God's green earth. Well, you know what? The only people who could disagree with those nuns and the good sisters of St. Mary's, which is a fine name for an institution of Catholic learning. The only people who could disagree with those fine sisters, probably Josephite sisters, would be these two sisters, the Scissor Sisters of Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. One of the stupidest things I've ever seen. And here's how the Kurtzman era, like, this is their most colorful and like engaging logo. This is a leftover Kelvin logo from, I believe, Star Trek Into Darkness. And notice how bland and awful it is. And you can also see paint retouches at this side that are not from me. They are not from me. There's problems there that they just didn't think people were going to see back at the time that they made that show. Like, but here they are, the Scissor Sisters of Starfleet Academy. Doesn't Teag Nicotino look just great there? And let's get them off the screen. Anything is better. Wes Cagle, it's great to see you. When are you going to be able to come back on here and chew the fat with us next week or sometime? Let's talk. Let's talk about this one. I have a few minutes left until I sleep. And Grog, I read all afternoon long. I am game. What are we talking about? Grog was fun to read. Let's see. We're talking about Strange New Worlds as well as a little more about Starfleet Academy Episode 3. It was not so great, and it might even have been, I think that even people who are not so for the causes that were being pandered to felt just a little bit bad at how terrible it went. If you wanted to get rid of one American political party or one political party in any country, just give Alex Kurtzman their PR contract and let him make commercials. He will make that party's platform hated by all, and he will get rid of them in a few months, like a couple of weeks. Hey, PCAT, it's good to see you. PCAT's a friend. We've been tweeting back and forth. Seeing the Scissor Sisters makes me want to yell like Al Bundy, I'm blind. What was up with that? Like, everybody has to just start out of nowhere introduce the fact that they're gay and they love each other. The people who are straight fight nonstop. The people who are gay, they love each other, because I guess straight people don't love. PCat's great guy. He's with Mr. Brown. I see him on there. A lot of great takes. Mr. Brown's Alliance, a great show, a great conversation. We see a lot of people over there. Let me get the Mr. Brown info for you guys. Throw that in there if I can. Mr. Brownstone, no. Mr. Brown's Alliance. And if I have that detail wrong, help me out, PCat. That's where I see you, right? I know I talk to you on all the time on X, and I think we used to cross paths with Bird of Prey 5. Were you friends with Bird too? PCat has been a fun person to get to know. Mr. Brown, I think most of our friends here probably already know of Mr. Brown, but Mr. Brown's Alliance, they do more pop culture than we do. Who knows, maybe one day we'll lean further into a all pop culture niche. But what I thought was interesting about them is, one, it's a great show. Two, they're friendly towards us. Three, they're always done before we come on the same night. So you know what? Friendly relations between the shows should have, we will, as Yoda would say. Yes, on Browns occasionally, and yes, would be in Bird chat. Yeah, you know what? Then in that case, let me send one out to you. I gave Mr. Brown's info just to plug it. He doesn't need my help. Mr. Brown is a great YouTuber. But you know what? We have something here, and this is something that I created. And Bird's mom, Mama Prey, is a channel member too. But there you see it, the Bird of Prey 5 emoji. It stands for Quality Star Trek. That's what that emoji stands for. It's called BOP5, but it stands for Quality Star Trek. And you know what? Though a younger man than I was when he passed, and I was very sad to lose him. Standing in front of the Type 4 torpedo casing, I could only think that we had lost one of our greatest captains. When Mama Prey joined the channel, I was really, really pleased and really, really touched. She was a wonderful person who took time out to be very nice to me at her son's wake, where she was the worst imaginable situation that outlived her son. But Bird of Prey 5, a great guy. Yeah, he was a fun listen. Like, I'm still working towards that. He had a totally different style and show than me, but I'm working towards being a quality listen myself. And hello, Lombardi says hello to Wes Cagle and myself. It's good to see Lombardi. Lombardi, it's great to see you. Check out high quality Mr. Brown's Alliance, a friend of the program. The last time, it's been a while since I talked to Mr. Brown too much, but I do remember when we lost Gil, our pal, Cardinal Sin. He did contact me so that he could get some information for their memorial. And I did think that it was really cool that he remembered Gil. And I want to give it up to our friend. I want to give it up to our pal Cardinal Sin, because let's face it, Cardinal was an early believer in Admiral Teag. A lot of good stuff for Admiral Teag might not have happened if not for Cardinal. He was really cool to me. He threw me into some situations that I would have to think about again. Some of those things, like sirs and madams, there were some crazy situations that, you know what, thanks to Cardinal, I did find myself. I'm not going to scoff at it, but like sometimes his show just got really, really crazy. And there were some arguments on there, and some things that was a lot of fun. Only Cardinal could do the Cardinal type show. And like I said, he was one of the very first people to really take an interest in Admiral Teag and show that, you know what, maybe there's a little more beyond what people thought about, you know, the Admiral. And I'm looking for his picture now so I can show it. But, you know, thank you, Cardinal. And you're a great guy. Threw me right into the fire, but I didn't mind because I got to get something that is very important to me, the validation from Doomcock that my Trek criticism is valid. Everyone out there wanted Admiral Teague's head on a pike. I'm telling you, the people do not like their Star Trek conformity broken up. But as I said then, and I'll say again now, what were we to do? What were we to do? And here was a great and mighty YouTuber. Hail, Bird of Prey 5. Hail to his mighty wisdom on Star Trek. But what were we to do but talk about the Nexus in those darkest of hours? What were we to do, my friend? Bird, what could we have done? What could we have done different, sir? What could we have ever done different than what we did? But, it was a difficult situation to have to deal with the void that we were in entertainment-wise, and unfortunately, there was no news about Star Trek United yet when we lost Bird, and there was no hope yet. And he didn't get to see that. I think he would be very excited for Star Trek United. All ships will fly with their running lights at half luminosity for the great Bird of Prey 5. Gracing us with his presence for a moment. We can't. Cardinal was a really nice guy and was honored to be on a panel with him a couple of times. Me too. It got chaotic because early on in my career when I met Cardinal, I was still getting to know him when he passed. And it sucked because he was such a nice guy. But early on there was some things going on that were just absolutely insane. And people were coming after me with a meat cleaver in both hands, one for me and one for the English language. And maybe Star Trek lore. It could be a dual use meat cleaver, but they were just coming after me. I was getting very, very badly disrespected. I was getting ganged up on and screamed at, and I didn't back down. And I also didn't take the bait and get mad. I gave it right back to my detractors. I was outnumbered every time. The final Cardinal Sin show, I just wasn't up for fighting 5 people at once with a whip and a chair, and I didn't know it would be the last one. I thought, I'll go next time, and that's life, right? The fragility and the shortness of life. We don't get enough, like Ira Graves in that episode of Star Trek TNG. He wanted more life, but, as it says, in the Bible, for each of these things, there is a season, a time to reap and a time to sow. And it's not for us to reason why. I liked him. I was sad when he passed, says Reverend Bernfried Axweiler. The live eulogy was lovely. It was. There were some audio problems. I got you didn't get to hear about me going to the wake. Thank you to Ruby Hoove. I thanked you last night after the show started. I don't know if you had already laid down, just listen passively. We did our best to entertain last night. It was another chungus of a show. There's 2 new tracks. First was last week. It was a new show and 1 episode, and then last night 2 hours worth of that show. So that was a lot of reviewing. We will never go that long again, but we will be back for every episode of Strange New Worlds. I'm sorry, Starfleet Academy and Strange New Worlds. We might be the only people one day who will be able to say we took the complete journey. We are tacking towards there. But Ruby Hoove, a great friend of the channel. Let me just turn on the camera. Ruby, I thank you so much, really very much, for helping this channel stay alive and helping me out. It's made a big difference in my life, and it's very validating when people believe in me and want other people to hear what I have to say too. We're going to get the members together, and there's going to be a hootenanny. A hootenanny thanks to people like Mr. House Party 6, Krimlon, and Ruby Hoove. We're all going to have a hootenanny. Maybe we'll watch a Trek movie. Maybe we'll do some stuff. I know Critical Drinker has 2 million subs, and when he does his member stream, there were only 35 people there. I've been to 3 of them. And so I no longer have any expectations or any problems with it. It's just, it is what it is. It's for you guys. I don't care about the numbers. And, whatever happens, happens. Yes. R.I.P. to all of our friends we've lost, Clobbering Times and Bird of Prey 5. The problem, not just in the human scale of these wonderful people we've lost, but just, on the franchise scale of Star Trek. And let's keep this up here for a moment to honor Ruby Hoove's contribution to our community. Thank you, Ruby. The problem is that when we lose our Star Trek hosts, a lot of people just don't want anything to do with Star Trek anymore. I don't know how much love Deej has for Star Trek anymore. I don't know. I just don't know how much Teag honestly wants to watch it. But, I don't know how much the Bird of Prey 5 and other talented Star Trek reviewers were able to clean it off and make it watchable and undo the damage. The damage that Kurtzman Trek is doing now is to try to kill the whole franchise. And it's so he can keep the bones. Alex Kurtzman's goal is to drive all other interest away from Star Trek, drive down the price, get the young adult novel and the other stuff that goes with the what will be left of the rights, like comic books, but like bad comic books. I have seen some of these Star Trek comic books. If you think the show's all about the message, whoa. The old days of Gold Key were the best. And thank you, Ruby Hoove, again. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful addition to the channel community, and I love having you here. Guys, what can I tell you? This has been like a wild couple of days for this channel. We're into what for me is my active period. Fridays, I've been enjoying showing up and hanging out with you guys. It's always a pleasure. And we get into some of the more personal questions here, and we have a more personal show. Thursdays, it's chaotic with the new track. It drops that day. Everyone has to watch it. Some people are finishing watching it just minutes before the show. They have made it longer than it ever needed to be by a lot. Going through these, 65-minute episodes of Strange New Worlds, they're not good enough. They're not good enough for 65 minutes. I mean, there's not enough story for 35 minutes, but they have no shame. Guys, if you're getting here now, do me a favor, hit those like and follow buttons. I would be really appreciative. And a lot of people just don't have the notification bell on and just don't know. And you know what? It's very controversial.
Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Do you think that people might, start to use the notification bell if I ask them?
Sir, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
You might be right, but maybe I can move the needle a little bit if like 10% of my subscribers turn on the notification bell, up from 0.5%. I haven't pushed this one hard enough. It's on me. Go on camera for this one. Here you go. Guys, do me a favor. There is something you can do to strengthen the channel and help get the word out. What you can do for me is 30 likes on the stream is really a big one. That gets it supercharged and gets the conversation out there, especially important on Saturdays. Past 30, after everything after 30 is quantum. There's no effect until 30. 35 is got so much more power than the first 10. 40 has so much more power than the next 20. And hey, Ruby, thank you. Ruby Hoof sends us a very generous, we're calling them $5 Greenlandian greenbacks. Stay warm and safe. Haven't had a snowstorm like this in PA since 1993. Hunker down and stay warm, folks. If this is a 30-year storm in PA, that's saying something, man. Pennsylvania gets some fucking snow. It gets a lot of snow. And by the way, I'm trying to clean up the bad language a little bit, except for jokes. Like, we're always going to call Ilea an effing asshole. Sean found it too funny. But like a lot of you guys, just out of courtesy, I'll try to dial down the salt so that when I do use it, inevitably it'll be funnier and more impactful. It also might help with the collabs, where after every collab, they're like, could you not punctuate every sentence with fuck? So what can I tell you? But this is 30 years of snow. Charge, Ruby, please leave your cell phone on the charger in case power goes out, so that the first moment you discover power is out, you'll have a fully charged phone. And keep that phone as dormant as you can so that you save the battery, just in case there's an emergency tomorrow. Now, Pennsylvania, pretty hardened against these conditions, but, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll do what we can at this community to help. We'd like to be able to help. I don't know if we can, but we would make the effort. So stay safe, stay warm, and I hope you have milk and other stuff. I know, I joking about this before, and thank you, Ruby Hoof. Joking about this before, I did say I got myself an extra big bag of weed and some anti-anxiety pills for what might be 5 days cooped up, and a little bit of snack food. I've got some White Castle. or shall I say Chateau Blanc, to be pretentious. Every single character in Kurtzman Trek is incompetent or stupid. Quite true. Going to bed last and stand up first. What? That's not what good military doctrine recommends. That was the least objectionable line because it was about achievement. I don't know that much because I wasn't in the military doctrine, but military, I'm not indoctrinated into that. I don't know like military protocol. I would say there would be merit for being the last in the rack and the first up to study at the academy, but maybe not in like active service, at least not all the time, unless you seem to be unaffected by it. I know Patton seemed to have like unlimited energy and was just showing up places, as we saw in the movie. And Wes Cagle right in there doing the job that, he was wrenched up to do. It got cold AF here in Germany, too. Siberia is horrible. Global warming. Well, it does seem to be warm enough that there's a permanent Northwest Passage that's navigable if they do like maintenance and ice breaking. But I don't know if that couldn't just flip back. I mean, a lot of these things, if you say there's no weather change, that means that in what would be not to humans, but in geological or meteorological time, really, just a tick of the clock for the climatology of planet Earth. In just a tick of the clock, we had a mini ice age that lasted from before Columbus until my grandfather was in high school, if he went. I mean, my grandfather was born in like 1910, but if they even had one for him to go to, he's probably working already. But I don't know that we wouldn't have a weather change back the other way, where it was to get really brutally cold and then really, crazy hot. I would point out that what happened in Kamchatka, am I saying that correct? They have that kind of snow on a regular basis, but this was extreme. This was much more extreme. From what I understand, the amount of snow is outstandingly high, but the drift pattern seems to be the thing where people are dropping in off buildings like it's a giant funnel. I've grokked a couple of those. Not all of them are real. So be careful with what you believe on that one. But people jumping out of those buildings into like 10 feet of like, you better have tested that snow first. The wrong kind of snow, you're still going to hit that like a ketchup packet, my friend. It's my friend Tony sending a hell, a like, and a watch later. It's an infinitely rewatchable show. We had a lot of people who were here earlier come back to re-listen. The average time on the re-listen is high as the time of listening, if not higher sometimes. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Saturday night with part 2 of The Forge. It's going to be some interesting stuff. And the military academies always start the day off with reveille. Yeah, like this guy's thing was that he was getting up before, and who knows at Starfleet Academy. At Starfleet Academy, it's a safe place and an inclusive place for handicapped people and people who would be another casualty, a casualty before the battle. I mean, this was non-military in every fucking way. If you're a soldier and like you lose your arm in the military, of Starfleet, or even in the military of Starship Troopers, we have, ways to fix you up and
I came home, there was a man in my house.
Calm down, Harrison. That's not the most important thing going on right now. It's not all about you. The point is that if you lose like a limb in combat as a soldier,
had a mechanical arm.
Is that why you had to interrupt me to make that point? All right. Harrison has said it. We already have mechanical arms. In Star Trek and Star Wars, the mechanical arms are pretty darn good. And Roger Corby's android's arms work just fine. And even have a pulse. I believe there's warmth to the flesh, if I remember that correctly. But you know what? The mechanical arm out there for like someone like Vader, and it's card night. All right, well, you go out there and you win yourself some more Squirtles. In active service, having 3 hours sleep all week round gets you and your comrades killed at some point, Admiral. Yes, that is true. That is true. You don't do that if you're like, say, on an aircraft carrier and you're spending your time getting planes in the air, mechanics, other people. However, when you go operational, the U.S. military, I believe that their thing is they think they can go 3 to 5 days with everybody staying awake the whole time, just go, go, go. and then you start breaking people out, and that will overwhelm a lot of enemies. That has been used twice. They used it in Iraq the second time around. They just went in there. I think it's in Generation Kill. They go for 5 days before they sleep. I don't know how. That's got to be very. I'm sure the officers who are older, like a couple of them, have to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get a couple of fucking winks. But we charged across the desert in that one for days on end. You could do it for only so long. I believe under extreme combat conditions, what they do is they know no one's getting any sleep, so they pull them out. The proof of this would be that even before modern, like totally modern warfare, pre-American Civil War, Santa Anna kept up a pointless bombardment of the Alamo where he didn't care if he hit them or not, just so no one there would get any sleep from his constant shell fire. He knocked off the bombardment and began the attack 90 minutes later, making sure that as many of the attackers, the defenders had fallen asleep. He waited for the adrenaline to cool. Brilliantly planned attack. He got pretty close before anyone woke up, and he was able to bayonet the outside guards and pickets in their sleep without them being able to give warning. So, complete surprise achieved. They weren't able to give. They had no soundproof room for anyone to get any sleep. No one had slept for 2 weeks in the Alamo when the final attack came in. Great movie. All right. You know what? You wanted it. You got it.
How dare you?
Are you saying that I killed my wife? Are you saying that I shot her? Crushed her skull?
Why, Spock? Why? All you had to do was pull the trigger. Find this man.
You find this man. You find this man. That is Alex Kurtzman's favorite movie. It's got to be. It's got to be. So much overlapping dialogue in that movie. And Alex Kurtzman, nothing but overlapping dialogue, just to the nth degree. I can't take it anymore. Guys, give me a moment. I want to continue rapping with you, and we're having a really good, relaxed time. So let's let Patton take us through for a moment while Admiral gets himself a little more Coca-Cola.
Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords and lances. The soldiers lay naked in the sun. 2,000 years ago, I was here. Well, this match will not be postponed.
You don't believe me, do you, Brad? What is it the poet said? As through a glass and darkly the age-long strife I see, but I've seen in many guises, many faces, but always me. I love that movie. What a great film. You know what, guys? Little sip of Coca-Cola. Limber up the old vocal cords. And let's go take a look at some of these chats. U.S. military academies always end the day with the national anthem. That is true. All U.S. bases start and end the day the same way. That makes perfect sense, and that is beautifully symmetrical and makes, for a great parallel to how the Romans did it, where they set up their camps the same way and hung out their vexations, their flags, vexations. I'm not sure, but if I have that word right. But they hung out their flags. They set up the same camp the same way every night. The closest thing I have to military experience, Mark D with the Sea goes there too. The scout camp that I went to when I was a kid. At 3 p.m. every day, they stop and ring the bell 3 times. 3 times. So 9 times altogether. 3 bursts of 3 for the 3 points of the scout law for the scouts who have passed away. And they only do that in the main camp of this traditional scout camp from like the early 1900s up in Rhode Island. Beautiful scout reservation. It's in a swamp. I mean, you can't really go 5 days without any sleep. Yeah, I thought that they were kind of talking shit too. I think the deal is like some guys just like get so tired that you fall asleep for a few hours in the back of the truck, and the column may be able to keep up 5. And I'm not saying like 5 whole days. I'm like, we're talking like 2 hours of day 1, 3 days and 4 or 5 hours of day 5 to get to 5 days. And then you got to stop and you got to defend and you have to have air cover and stuff like that. Generation Kill wasn't a documentary. It was a movie. It was a sourced movie, but it was not a documentary. They said 5 days, and some of that early misinformation. Now, some of us were like here in the States, and some of us were like busy fighting for our country and defending it. They told us on the news, Donald Rumsfeld said we go 5 days without any sleep, and it didn't hit anybody's ears as particularly truthful. And he got confronted. And I would say a very controversial Secretary of Defense, although I did not disapprove of his all-out attitude of getting the enemy. I forget why he had to leave. Ask German veterans, meth is a hell of a drug. Yeah, I don't know how many people know this. When I was in college studying history, my focus was the history of Germany was focused too, right? Like you had to study your culture in another one. So I studied Germany, and they talked about this weird mystery drug that Hitler did and how he thought it was great and he wanted his guys to have it. So they gave meth, primitive meth that was maybe chemically a little different and probably real dirty, but they would give that to the German soldiers before the attack, not just for energy, but because it made them mean. It made them mean. So I thought that that was kind of telling of his philosophy. But I always wondered myself, whatever happened to this weird drug? Whatever happened to this weird drug? And I'd already heard here and there about crank. And then finally someone called crank meth, then crystal meth. And I'm like crystal methamphetamine? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so it's like Vitamoltin? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, never mind. And that's when it clicked in my mind that, Hitler was on meth. Harrison Ford as a fugitive was great, was able to pull in all of the great elements of the TV series, which is among my favorites. Question, PCAT, what did you think of U.S. Marshals? I mean, Faye Dunaway's always drunk, so ignore her bad performance, but like, is there no fugitive without Richard Kimball and no U.S. Marshals without a fugitive? Were they just like like good guys looking for a villain? Because Wesley Snipes is okay in that movie, but the movie just ain't great. And it's the same approach, that terrible overlapping dialogue, just as hard to take in the movie. And is that Esapatha Murkison? Is she the black chick who's telling everyone to shut the fuck up all the time? Like the U.S. Marshals were a weird bunch. They worked in one movie, but I don't know if anyone wanted them back. They were kind of hard to love, the U.S. Marshals. Admiral Teague, so in Star Trek Academy, Betazoids need sign language, and the guys from Planet Charon are still around. How did nobody catch that this is bullshit? Everyone caught that it was bullshit. Let's do that one in reverse. There are no guys from Charon. There are Churonians. They are black and white cookie flavored, but they are not guys. The Churonians, they are they're they thems in New Trek. It's something to see. In New Trek, the Betazoid sign language thing was so dumb. A drone flew across the room and landed on his throat, which would make you think that it's transcribing his voice. But as he does the fake sign language where it looks like he's some kind of fucking weatherman, the front will start here and we'll move up here, and we will not join the Federation until we get our capital here. And it was the dumbest fucking thing. And with Holly Hunter, like having that hearing problem, like, did they put that in there to guilt us? But the drone attaches to your neck, which would seem to make sense. Like you just talk and it would pick up the vibrations no matter how damaged your voice was, right? No, this reads the sign language in your hands. It doesn't discriminate. Although I would imply that giving the drone sightedness, come on. We're curing all these things hundreds of years ago. And we even talked about that episode with Riva, where he was this great negotiator, but he was mute, and he had the relationship with Troy. He had his chorus do the speaking for him. I am the heart of Riva. He wants to know, spit or swallow, Deanna. It was weird stuff, man. Like the chorus of Riva, like it was a great conceptual episode trying to have Deanna have a relationship with him. I don't know. The German fighters took Pervitin. Yes, that's what they called it. And other stuff. They did it was meth, though. I had that part right. The Vita Molten might have been specific to Hilter himself. U.S. Marshals was okay, but you're all right. Kimball is the fugitive. The other thing about that was like Sam did not have enough of a purpose, and giving that thing like some kind of like conspiracy that he's unraveling where he's playing both sides of the fence, like, is my government correct? It almost didn't work, right? It was like, well, let's face it, it didn't work. When I walked into that movie theater, I was like a little stoned, and it was playing with LA Confidential, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Is Us Marshals like a reality TV kind of thing with like a GoPro point of view? And what is La Confidential? Is this some kind of a foreign film? So I went to see both eventually, and I really like them. But you know what? U.S. Marshals, not as good as LA Confidential by a long shot. Watchable, but the overlapping dialogue, oh my God, nobody lets anyone finish a sentence. It's worse than my show when we're angry. Pyrimidine was the meth equivalent used by Germany in World War II, says Oiler Greg. Oiler Greg, welcome back. Great to see you, sir, with that great AFC helmet for the Tennessee Titans, former predecessor, the only team Houston needs, the only team Houston wants, the Oilers. Although, you know what, your Texans got a good team too. I mean, a good helmet at least. According to the Allies, some German stormtroopers kept walking despite being riddled with holes. Like berserkers, scary shit, but on the positive side, they often murk their superior into a fit of rage. Yeah, I know that even with less powerful drugs like yayo in Cuba in 1898, when we fought the Spanish, the guns of the time were not powerful enough, and that's why the 45 was introduced to the service. The 38 Police Bulldog was the kind of gun that they were using for the Army, I believe. I believe it was a 38 caliber revolver. Maybe it was a 45 caliber revolver. I think they had refined it because remember, the Colt Navy was a cap and ball revolver. That's the 45 caliber one. It does explain a lot, right? It does explain, and that they gave it to him to be mean. Also, in previous conflicts, I don't know if this works, but it was done. Sometimes people would give booze to their soldiers to make them, ready for the attack and lower their inhibitions. And if they had it, they would mix gunpowder with the booze because that would make you meaner. I don't know if that one's true, though. I heard it was done, though. Scotty was the best diplomat in Star Trek. That might be true. He did a few things in the diplomatic front. He solved a lot of problems by backing Kirk's big talk. If he doesn't get the phasers readjusted to fire a wide field stun on the street in Sigma Iosha 3, who knows what happens. LA Confidential was a great movie, in my opinion. Mine, too. Pierce Paget, Anything Your Heart Desires, and Kim Basinger just looking, oh, wow, smoking hot in that movie. Admiral Teag, I remember watching Star Trek Discovery, seasons 1 and 2, with my helmet on because I was afraid my brain would splatter all over my wallpaper. Brain is so hard to get out. Not watching Starfleet Academy. I will watch it for you. Our show the other night is decent entertainment, much funnier than them. It's a long show, but you know what? It's funny. It is one long show of clips. I couldn't find a place to make clips. I wrote down some time codes, but like, we are very controversial, sirs and madams. I don't know. Those clips might get me in trouble. Vita Molten was the weird cocktail injected into Hitler by his quack doctor, Dr. Morell. Yeah, Vita Molten was like the B12 and other upper kind of stuff. And then there was that other stuff like the chocolate covered feces that would help. Believe it or not, like there's medical evidence that at that time was considered okay. I think it's quackery now. Like you said, the guy was a quack. But like Hitler didn't have like proper intestinal flora while he was after his World War II bouts of dysentery. His stomach never recovered, and maybe that's why he becomes a vegetarian. They also say that Hitler was enormously flatulent and hard to hang out with because he was just farting nonstop. Okay, he must have been real charismatic to overcome that one. Could you imagine in a bunker with like the lack of the lack of ventilation. It's like, and Steiner, mein Führer, please. It's, I mean, what was that even like? It sounds like Wonder Weapons. No, they don't sound wonderful to me, right? I'm sure glad I won't live to see it, but God, how I missed the 20th century. And with none of you guys watching, it's not really a bad thing for my analytics to chat with you guys for a while. So a lot of other people on that you would choose me is indeed a privilege. I see, right now, I'm going to be honest. I think that there's a good shot that Tom Connor's channel, and if you can watch the browser tab open for a couple of minutes, that would help me out, guys. Just keep my analytics solid. It's actually sort of key. And I'm still like, but I am a pathetic Nickelback song, like, like Blind Man Begging or whatever it is, are we having fun yet? We certainly are, but I need all the help I can get. I see a lot more responses and likes. Tachyon Pulse only goes via video for the most part. He's only started live streaming a lot lately on his own channel, and he's doing a great job. But lately, I have seen people getting like just a lot more responses and a lot more likes. And I guess as Americans and as YouTube viewers, like, we're jaded, and a lot of us watch on a device where we throw it to another device. So I get it. But like, when my video essays hit the ground, anyone who can help me out with some likes right away off the bat. If you see a channel member post, please like it. And if you don't have time to read it, go back and read it later. Like it first, read it later. It'll stay in your feed. It'll keep the visibility and the bandwidth. Vital instructions about how to watch Landman, how to enjoy the watch parties, how to join us for movies. Those are in the channel community tab. So when you see it, please do it. And also, notifications are a bitch. Now, I am not so cruel that I'll take Sydney Sweeney's beautiful rack away from you for more than a few seconds. In 10 more seconds, I will return her rack to you. If we can get, a couple more likes going, though, be appreciated. 20 is great. 20 is great for a 2-hour show that has become like semi-informal. Like these 2-hour to 3-hour Friday shows, they're not really regular, right? They're not really the most regular thing. So when you guys know that I'm going to be on and you come see me, I am always really flattered. But you know what? Turn on notifications. Turn on those jets. 11 people. Wow. I am. And you know what? Yeah. That's one thing. I like all the people who come here. We had this great conversation. Like the channels. Here's a scandalous story about Admiral Teag's channel. We had a fight. It was Mr. Angel versus Reverend Axe Wielder, but the fight wasn't that fucked up. The fight was about the tactics to pacify Britain and Germany, Boudica and the Roman army. And even though opinions were strong and tempers and passions ran high, they were like, respecting each other and like they'd be like, that's fucking bullshit. Sorry. Like trying to keep it like above the belt. And it's like, then they were like both saying like, man, we're sorry. We got into this fight on your channel. And it's like, this is kind of like the conversations we want, like a passionate conversation about these kind of things. God knows if we can be passionate about the Romans and what they did and Boudica and what she did, we can be passionate about Star Trek only 60 years later. We're talking like almost 2,000, 1,600 years, something like that. A long time. Boudica, all I know, bitch been dead a long time. Was she pretty cool? Did she do some wild stuff? Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, yeah. But I mean, what was all the things the Romans said true about her? We don't know. We weren't there. Now, they still are trying. It's one of the most unfortunate and like perplexing things is when they broke into King Tut's tomb, they did find his Nokia and they think his text messages are on it, but he had like a 7-digit PIN code, and they've been trying to crack it for for about 20 years since they had the technology. So we might get a few text messages. So far, they have uncovered certain things like his high score at Snake was unbelievable. unbelievable, like 75 frames or more of Snake. Just like it's going so fast. Like, how did he do that? He had like 1 pixel to work with. So Tut, amazing at Snake. Also, like not so great with fighting off infections. But having you guys here talk Star Trek. Any more like Trek questions or stuff you want to ask me? Otherwise, you know what? It's been an amazing 2 hours where we set the tone from last week, and let's start setting up for Saturday. Part 2 of The Forge. It's a really good story. I don't think the Serac actor is in this one. He's not the greatest actor. I think he shows up at the very end and gets his own episode where he does his own thing with Archer. This is real good writing for what they did. You can debate what they did. A lot of people don't like the lore changes. You can debate what they did. However, the way they adopted to it and the way they wrote for it, I think that we saw some really incredible stuff from the Star Trek people. But if you don't like it, I understand that. However, I would point this out. It is very, very watchable Star Trek. It is very watchable. It's worthy as Star Trek. It is Star Trek. It's a weird Trek. It's a Trek of its own. It's a vengeful Trek in season 3 with the with the Xindi, but it's worthy Star Trek. And I think the reason why the Star Trek of Enterprise is so popular right now, sirs and madams, is because it didn't get the watches it deserved at the time. It didn't get what it needed from the network. It didn't get the support it deserved. And unfortunately, what happened was the show sort of didn't get what was a keystone in franchise watchability. And that would be the idea that the show is watchable over and over again, and that you could continue to watch Star Trek, forever. Rewatchability is like franchise cornerstone. So when you get a show like the CWs, or was the UPNs, UPN was a little more quality than CW. It died a better death. Let's see. Remember that at the end of DS9 when O'Brien took a position at the Academy? Yeah, that made sense though. Going from O'Brien at the Academy to whatever these abominations of teaching, at least he gave you useful stuff. Hilter also had Parkinson's disease. Yeah, I believe that, but I mean, we can't write off that he was just always tweaking from the crank, and also he might have been just like tweaking out. But there are a lot of other Parkinsonian signs, and his doctors, some of whom weren't quacks, like the ones who were trying to get rid of Morell, Dr. Morell was such a quack that the Allies thought that he might have been an Allied sympathizer trying to kill Hilter. That's how insane Dr. Morell was. Okay. But let's see. He had Parkinson's disease, and according to Argentinian law, that death was far more fitting. Alone, crippling pains, no one helping him. I don't think he would have. I think that he was affected by that. I still think that the closest thing we have to the truth is what they told us. I'm still with the official story most of the way on that one. I do believe that there were too many witnesses captured at different times in different places for it to have been anything but the most grandiose conspiracy. The way the stories matched up, the way it matched what evidence we found, and the stories about the piece of the skull being handed over by Boris Yeltsin's government to ours in time to try to like make a difference at the end of the Cold War and say, hey, look, like Hilter really is dead. Even though I think, what would he have been, like 115 years old when we got his skull in 1991? But I believe a mitochondrial DNA matched it with his living sister. So like it happened more or less the way they said. People for years and years and years just didn't want to believe it. That's why we have Khan. That's why we have Patterns of Force. The idea of, Space Hilter was very much a sci-fi idea and a trope at the time, and it was important to them to try to get it across to us, like as other ways of tapping into this mass cultural zeitgeist thing of maybe Hilter is still alive, and it served Star Trek pretty well, in my opinion. It was good for the show. Let's see with a few more of your chats. I like it too. No reason to rip each other's throats out over differences of opinions. The thing I liked about it was well reasoned arguments where people had something to say. And even though it got emotional, it didn't get petty and people were like backing away a lot, like neutral corner stuff, not beating a man when he was down, respectful exchanges. I love and then when you guys are apologizing to me, I was like, I got to say, that is the most ideal fight that any channel host could hope for. Like a high level PhD level account of Roman and Germanic and Celtic, as well as Celtic Gaelic and other strategies against the Romans, Roman propaganda and ancient history. That's the fight you want, not like F you, you motherfucker, you know? Or as we say in New York, fuck you, you fucking fuck. I mean, I still don't call the Punisher a hero, but I respect what he tries to do. And on that front, he's pretty cool. I don't think he was ever supposed to be like a hero, right? The misinterpretation is that he's a hero. The Punisher was just trying to get his pound of flesh in that one movie with Thomas Jane that's really good. And we don't when Thomas Jane shows up as Dr. McCoy in season 4 or 5 of Strange New Worlds, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. And the idea is to leave us with a bad taste in our mouth for Thomas Jane. And now everyone from The Expanse has somehow been in this show, except for what's his name? Rorden or whatever his name is, the main character. Remember at the end of DS9? Yes, we talked about this one. I mean, Boothby is more fitting to teach these people than and what are these people teaching? I think I made that clear. Let's put up the teachers again. See, here's what they're teaching. Look at their comm badges, okay? That's what the Starfleet Academy is all about. That's what they're about. That's why they're out here. They can't reproduce, so they recruit. It's like this show seems to exist only to reinforce the most negative tropes about the populations it claims to be advocating for. I'm not gay. Some of my friends are. Doesn't bother me. They have radar. We have gaydar. We all know who's who. Nobody has. I've never had like really like distasteful like experiences where people are giving me undue attention, except like one person stalking me across the internet now for the 4th year who won't give up on their gay obsessions, or 2 people for that matter. But the bottom line is, it wasn't a big deal. It was like second to the story. We usually didn't find out about people being gay because it wouldn't have come up. Like this Star Trek, it's like, hello, my name is and I am. And it's just like, I am so-and-so, like she, her, he, him, they, them. So that's more important to them than the storytelling. And we've seen Kurtzman out there. And I don't repudiate anyone for being an involved member of their country's political system. But we have seen a collapse on one side of the platform of ideas. It's been terrible. And Star Trek has played a hand in this downfall and this idiocy. And I ask you.
Does anyone see that this is wrong?
Oh, God.
We will win. We will win. We will.
Shut up!
Thank you, General, sir. Guys, more of your questions. What else we got going on here? I missed the times when I said, man, New Trek kind of sucks, and New Trek was Enterprise because at least it had moments I loved. Well, I would say, yeah, now Star Trek Enterprise is not New Trek, and it's the least contaminated of the shows. They did the least with it, although they took one Star Trek Enterprise character and put him into Discovery. They had Daniels, but I mean, he was like a peripheral character and a dick, and they made him Kovacs, who no one cared about. I'm so all right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, you know what? It is long enough. Let's stop punishing our audience. There you go. How's that? I feeling a little better now, sir. PC Cat 235. PCat, it's great to see you. And sorry for calling you PC Cat. That's the dyslexia overtaking my. I'm a little blind too after looking at that. Like all problems come out in spades. PCat. Damn. So like maybe it's time for me to get ready to wrap it up. I might be starting to get a bit dumb. You know what? The Forge trilogy continues tomorrow. We'll be on at 8:00 on Resolute Germs with the watch party. Then at 9 p.m. here for Saving Star Trek. I'm sorry, you know what? I'm glad you're cool about it, but you deserved like the respect of the apology, as do all my subs. Very quickly, a little bit of channel lore. I have beamed a few people into deep space for being dicks to the people who are here now. Some of you have been here when it's happened. We have also been attacked in a way that has forced us to turn on subscriber only mode. But you know what? Like, that's life. I mean, I can live with subscriber only mode to a degree. And it hasn't been that bad for people joining the channel because I think our conversation is somewhat intoxicating. But we are at 3,146 raving Star Trek fans now. And I must thank all of you for being part of our show and part of our community. You can join the community if you want. It would be great. We would love to have you. Or, you can just hit us up with another like. Watch us again later. The super chat you don't have to give. It's not important that you contribute financially as much as you help me out with these likes and the enthusiasm, and the rest will follow. Everybody can just do their part to help us get out the important message, which is the tweet that I am composing for all of you now. I ask only this of everyone here. Take this and heat it. No, take this and tweet it out on X. I'm going to put it up there in the chat for you so you can see it. A lot of you already know what it is, but it's very important that we put this out there. This is an important tweet. Tweet that out there. Retweet each other's retweets. Retweet the retweets of the retweets. Like it. Retweet it. Talk about it. Retweet the comments. Talk about the comments. Talk about the retweets of the comments. Retweet the retweets of the comments about the retweets. We need to get the best buzz we can going. Now, there are still a lot of Star Trek fans out there, and they're in a position to spend money, time, and invest themselves in a good quality Star Trek show. Star Trek United is our great chance. Can you see me tweeting, Kirk? I can see you. Yes, thank you. Guys, tweet that one out. Try to help me out with this one. And you will get a like if you do it from Michael Sussman. I can tell you for sure that if you tweet this out 3-4 days in a row, you will almost definitely get a like from Michael Sussman, who wrote a lot of episodes and produced 70 of the 96 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. I think it's a great way for all of us to contribute to Star Trek continuing. Star Trek must continue. So, with that, I would just say I thank everyone for being here. You guys are all the best. I want to thank Reed, PCAT, Reverend. I want to thank that Admiral Teag guy. He's a weirdo. I want to thank Wes Cagle. I want to thank, we had so many people through here tonight as I scroll. Tony was here. I want to thank Ruby Hoove. I want to thank Lombardi 1969. Also thank myself. Heil myself. You know what? Sigvaldason also was here. Jason Love was here. Gavin Blackburn was here. We had Miskatonic Madman here, very generously contributing. Jason Love was also here. We had Outlaw Bill, Sci-Fi Sith Dad. We had Radioactive Actual. We had RRTNZ, John the Beagle Dad. We had so many great Star Trek fans, the Trek Reviewer among them. All of us here for one reason, to celebrate that which we love. The greatest franchise of all time. Real Star Trek. Miskatonic Madman, am I right? Am I right, Jason Love? Am I right? Read by Nature. Mr. House Party 6 was here. Founder of the Feast and a very, very important member of the Q Continuum. Kimberly, a.k.a. David Jones, was here. It was great to see her. We love Kimberly. We love that she comes by. We had Lemon Pie here. It was so good to see Storta Poopus here. And that weird duck who follows me around everywhere I effing go. What would happen if I put the StreamYard's duck? It's the only thing you don't have the option to delete or put in channel jail. Okay, they're going to get their advertising out there whether I want to or not. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed another interesting episode of Saving Star Trek. I'll be back around tomorrow with Resolute at about 8 o'clock to start off the Star Trek festivities. And again, we have that late bunch of people squeezing the analytic back up to 10 and making it extremely desirable to hang out. And whoa, RRTNZ, so say we all. Yes, we must save Star Trek. We must stay with this. This is going to be, guys, I'm not lying to you here. This is going to be the darkest year for Star Trek fans because it is a year where we are facing a YouTube breakdown. YouTube is a little bit anti-community, okay? It's a little bit anti-community, and it's a little bit uncool. Now, while that's going on, we have deep confusion, especially on the financing level for the people who would be behind Star Trek, of what even they would do with this project because they don't know who the audience is. We have a lot of fans who are just too old to make any noise because they don't know. It's like these are the people that we have to call to tell them to turn the remotes on. Like people who were 40, who was when Star Trek were on, or in their 90s, they're still going to want to watch it, man. There are people who picked up on Star Trek when they were like 40, 60 years ago. Like one or two of them are still around, you know. There's still people in their 80s, like my mom, who liked Star Trek, who was, you know, in her teens and 20s when the show was on. 20s when the show was on, and she had nothing but high regard for the show, and she's not able to really get on the internet. She has to call me to find out how to, you know, she needs to call me to find out how to change the channel. So I mean that really does say it all. But you know what? Before I go, let's see if there's enough people out there to do this. I think I can. I think I can. And I think I can. I think I can do this. I'm trying to, at least. It's not as easy as I thought. Let's see. I see the terms apply, but I'm trying to do something here. All right, here we go. Here's some gift memberships for all my friends at Radioactive Actual. Thank you. Here's some memberships for my bros out there. I have a few that I can give out every month, and it looks like maybe we are at capacity. Some people will have to come through. The good news is we have all day tomorrow for people to come through. There's a few memberships in the ether. People who watch the uploads will get them. I thought we might be a little maxed out as far as memberships go. But you know what? Tomorrow's show will have a lot of interest. It's part 2 of the trilogy, and I think it'll have a good week during the week. Last week's Enterprise show, 650 views by Tuesday. Now, that was a holiday weekend, and I think it squeezed some people today. But you know what? Tomorrow night, we'll be on. The review show starts at 9 on Germ's channel. The watch party's at 8. If for some reason he can't do it, there will always be pinned into the... We discussed that today. Anyone who has X and has verified X, or who has X, you know what? Tell JDA Talks that Admiral Teag is down with the Tachyon Pulse and has spoken of him with a high degree of regard, and is interested in learning a little more about the Tachyon Pulse and his relationship, as well as giving him a chance to talk about his books. We'd love to hear about that, and also his Trek takes. Sean put it well. He's a pretty reasoned and insightful sounding voice so far. The things he says deserve to be heard, and some of them might just pan out. He's basing a lot of it on Tachyon Pulse's ideas. How will tomorrow's stream go? K Sirach. That is great, guys. Like that one for me. That is hilarious. K Sirach indeed. With 10 of you here, help out RRTNZ by liking that. And you know what? There are some memberships in the ether for anyone who wants them. Did I take a poll today? No, I didn't. So I want to say that Saving Star Trek is brought to you by the genius of Gene Roddenberry and the generosity of fans like RRTNZ, Miskatonic Madman, Ruby Hoove, Radioactive. And I thank all of you for your multiple gifts. There are some more memberships, like I said, out there in the ether. Scoop them up. Tell your friends. All you got to do is come to Admiral Teag's channel and watch a few minutes of anything, including like this, high quality show where I got to interact with you people, my friends, for 2.5 hours. And I still have a cold, but I'm saving my one last card for tomorrow so that I can have free sinuses for the Star Trek show. Gosh knows that is just like going through all that with your sinuses messed up and trying to remember to mute and unmute. We saw how funny that went. You know what? As we get ready to blow out of here, let's have how did Spock end up being a member of this channel? Let's find out.
That was so controversial. Sir.
Sir.
Doesn't anyone see that this is wrong?
Fuck you, Tuvok. It's not wrong. You should join this channel. You should help us save Star Trek. You should turn on the notifications because it would really help me out just a little bit. And you know what? Accept no, as Sean said yesterday on Doomcock, accept no imitations. The only fully charged, ready to go Star Trek show. We use the finest cut the lithium crystals to power our warp core, and we don't have them on our freaking pajamas like Captain Holly Hunter. Thank you so much. We love you guys. And remember,
The word decent doesn't apply to me.
Incoming Sydney Sweeney video. Set burners to full. Lubrication supply sufficient for projected fapping level. Paper towels to standby. Turbo lift door secured and locked. Wives and girlfriend interruption probability at 12%. You may commence masturbatory actions at any time.
You know what? Maybe I'll see if I can get lucky tonight. Roll the dice at the pub up the street. I love you all. I think you've earned her. And you've been here for me through an amazing show where you guys are on fire. Yeah, Sean is hilarious. You haven't seen that yet, Reed? We've been using it. Thank you guys for everything. And you have earned Sydney Sweeney, certainly on the way out the door. We love you. I love you all. Can I finish?